Hey guys, Icecarrot here, and we're going to be going through this week's marquee matchup predictions. I was a bit late this week, so personally I'm not making too many investments, but this is still just a heads up for what we could be looking for this week's marquee matchup. So this week we have a load of big games and big derbies. The first of all is the Madrid derby, Atletico versus Real Madrid. This one, I reckon EA will probably add it into the game. It is a big game, but the investing wise, the Madrid players have already started to rise. As you can see, like when I searched, there aren't even too many cards under 500 coins, and most of these are the silvers. If I would give a tip about investing, I would try to actually get your investments on a sort of snipe. So imagine you could snipe a Madrid player for 200 coins, or a Real player for 200 coins, or an Atletico player for 200 coins. That'd probably be the only really best way to invest, because at the moment the prices have already risen quite a lot. You can see for the Atletico players as well, there's none under like 500 coins. So you could even try to start sniping these cards already before the Squad Builder Challenge is out. But I wouldn't really recommend investing in them unless you get them for a minimum price. But personally, I'm not going to be investing in this game. The second matchup is another big game. Bayern Munich versus Borussia Dortmund. This is a big game in the Bundesliga, and as you can see already, the cards have risen a lot. We got Benko for 250 coins. I'm actually going to pick that up because that's basically his minimum. I could sell it on right now for profit. But when you're investing in these matches, as I've already said, don't go out and buy like these bronze players for 600 coins, because they're not going to rise for that much more. Just, you want to pick them up for like a minimum price. You can see here, they're going for 400. I'd only pick them up if you're picking them up for 200, 250, because if the matchup doesn't come out, you're just going to make a loss, because this is a bit late. So we got Bayern Munich, and it was against Borussia Dortmund. And you can see the Dortmund players, there are actually some for 200 coins, these bronzes. So probably at the moment, the only investment I would see possible would be these 200 coin bronzes for Dortmund. However, I reckon if they do a Squad Builder Challenge for this marquee matchup, I'm not too sure if they will actually include the bronzes. So it's always a bit of a risk picking up these bronze cards, but you never really know. The third matchup is in the Prem, and this is the United-Arsenal match. So last week we didn't actually have an English matchup, so I reckon this week we could probably be looking at seeing this Arsenal-United game. In the marquee matchups, you can see the only real cheap cards are these bronzes. There are like a couple cheap gold cards for United and Arsenal, but the cards don't really rise too much. Again, with the investment, you either want to pick up cards for their minimum price, or even look at cards which have like sort of scarce positions. So if we look at, say, Arsenal left backs, there aren't actually too many, and that's why it's like the likes of Gibbs and Monreal already going for quite a bit. But rare cards don't seem to rise too much. You want to be looking at the silvers and the non-rares. So have a quick look at United over here, as we can see. So if you look at like United left backs, a good investment may be Rojo, just because he's a non-rare left back. If it requires a left back in the actual marquee matchup, he would rise a lot because he's a non-rare card. So there's not too many of him on the market. You can see there's only a couple for 550. Say if you could snipe a Rojo for like 450 coins, that could be decent, or 400 coins. That might be an alright investment. The fourth possible matchup is the Milan derby. Again, this is a massive game. Inter Milan versus AC Milan. And the prices have already risen a load. As you can see, the cheapest card was 400 coins. We have like a couple like non-rare golds, which are probably the non-rare golds, and the silver cards are usually the best ones to look at invest in. And I would, again, the risk is scarce positions, because since we're doing late investments, the prices have already risen. So the ones which will rise even more would be the sort of rarer position with only one card in the position. So maybe left backs and right backs. But again, I would only pick up these cards if you pick them up for their minimum. Say you sniped an Ansaldi for like 450 coins, then fair enough, decent investment. But personally, I would not go out and actually buy these cards for like 650 coins, just because if the matchup doesn't come out, you're going to make a loss, because the cards are going to go down to their normal minimum price and they're not going to be worth too much. So again, that match I would skip. Final game, which this is the risky one again, the Fenerbahce Galatasaray match. And this is the one where you can still make profit. So at the moment, the cheapest Fenerbahce players are about 250 coins, or 450 coins, which is pretty expensive for these players. But since the majority of them are silver and bronzes, if this matchup comes out, the requirement will be quite a low rating, and you will be able to make quite a lot of profit, just because these cards are a lot more rarer. There aren't too many on the market. You can see like left back, the cheapest is 850 coins. If you could snipe this guy for about 500, then that would be a really good investment there. And then if we check right backs as well, you can see they're going for a bit cheap because there are even the likes of bronzes like Van der Weel and the things. So if we look at right back, we can pick them up for 400. I'm going to actually buy that. Oh, see someone pick that car up. If you could snipe them for 400 coins, great, because there's no chance of you making a loss. But this, if you're going to invest in one of the game, the Fenerbahce Galatasaray match would probably be the best one to invest in because less people know about this match. People are all investing in the big games. But again, since these investments are quite late, the prices have risen quite a lot already. Like if we look at left backs for Galatasaray, they've already gone up above 1k because it's a silver card. I guess you could price fix them to like 5k, but that's still super risky and I wouldn't have worth the risk. So again, to go over all of the matches, the Madrid derby, so Atletico versus Real Madrid, Bayern Munich versus Dortmund, Arsenal United, AC Milan versus Inter Milan, and Fenerbahce versus Galatasaray. With these investments, you want to make sure if you're buying any players, pick them up for their minimum because they've already risen quite a bit. These investments are a bit late, so you could even just skip it this week. Or if you want to actually do the challenge yourself, you can pick up the players before they even rise a bit more. But usually, as soon as the challenge comes out, the prices just drop because everyone's undercutting. So make sure if you make an investment, sell it on as soon as the Squad Builder Challenge drops or just before it drops. If you just want to have a really safe investment, I could even do a separate video on this. You want to sell your card as soon as you're in profit, just because there's a chance it could go down. And if you're going to invest in one of the matches for this one, and you want to go for profit, I would go for the Fenerbahce Galatasaray. It's the riskiest one, but that's where the most profit is. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know this week's investments were a bit late. I'm going to try and do, like at the start of next month, I'll try and do a load of them early in the month so we can get our investments in early, hold on to them before the prices start to rise. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on my next video.